Hey, Robot Ninja Paradise here. This is Ninja from Robot Ninja Paradise, as I just mentioned before, reading to you Mario Kart 64 Driven, part of the Too Spooky for Me series. All right. So, the backstory. Growing up as a kid in the mid 90s, I was a Nintendo child through and through. Weekend upon weekend would go by as my brother and I played SNES and N64 until the cows came home. Back then, I was especially partial to my brother's Nintendo 64 and the set of games he had with it. As a result, those got played a lot more by me and made Mario Kart 64 my favorite game. Nazi zombies and Modern Warfare, oh god, may have taken up most of my gaming time as it became part of the Xbox Live age, but Mario Kart 64 still has held a place in my heart as my all-time favorite. All of that was before these past 2 weeks. Now I won't touch Nintendo 64 at all, and I rarely play Nintendo titles. This is a very down-to-heart story so far.
They're gonna pass the mic to me, Robot.
But not quite yet. A few months back, I brashly sold my Nintendo 64. I just want to get a reaction at you. I didn't want to pass no mic. And my SNES at a yard sale my family was holding. Eva Rice, that's kind of an odd name. That might not even be a name. I don't know what he's trying to say there. And arrogance were brought to me by my discovery of emulators. In my eyes, their ability to deliver classic games in unlimited quantity at no cost was second to none. Piracy always wins, guys. I don't remember much about that yard sale, but the family whom I sold it to left a distinct memory in my mind. Here it comes, guys. The family consisted of a small Hispanic woman with two very young children. She didn't know much English, and at the time I didn't know any Spanish. Well, okay. That seems like an odd... I don't know. Whatever, go on. The language barrier complicated things, but it didn't hinder the sale entirely. She walked off with an SNES and Nintendo 64 was roughly 20 games in total, and I walked off with $40. $40. Wow, he really sold out on that one. It hadn't taken me long to realize that this was an obtuse decision. Well, he caught on fast. When my brother found out, he was frustrated, but he agreed to help me get it back. He came into town 2 weeks ago, and on his second day, we headed off to our local used game shop. I hope it wasn't GameStop. The store was a nice little place called Game Giant. My brother knew the owner and employees well, as he had gotten a lot of PS2 games from them before he moved into a place of his own. As fate would have it, the very woman I sold it to would sell my Nintendo 64 to the shop. We got $50, which was pretty cheap. Okay, that's really dumb. Like, how did he even know it was his? It could have just been a random one.
I mean, it's not like, the 64s had, any way of identifying them. They all basically look the same. Unless you put, some custom stickers on them or something, which the story never says, so,
We're left to assume a lot of things out of here, but whatever, go on. The budget wouldn't allow for any games. But however, so we were under the impression we would walk out empty-handed. After we explained our financial predicament to the owner, he told us this. They had a copy of Mario Kart 64 that they were giving away for free. Oddly enough, he waited for all of the other customers to leave before he gave it to us. His hands were shaking and he started to stutter. He also let us know that we were more than entitled to a refund should we choose to take it back. Oh god, it's going to be one of those fan fictions. The Lost Game kind of ones. You guys know the ones. We read a few. Now, I had believed in ghosts, and I still do, but the idea of a haunted video game seemed impossible to me. My brother was a total skeptic and agreed with me. Thinking nothing of the store owner's strange behavior, we went home ready for a night filled with revived memories. We arrived back home at about 4 o'clock p.m. versus... Okay, that's kind of an odd sentence. Versus was our first order of business. I chose Toad, my personal favorite from childhood because of his unparalleled acceleration. My brother chose Luigi, his personal favorite, because he's the fastest of all the medium weight characters. Shells were tossed and bananas were thrown. No sexual puns intended, guys. Until 6 o'clock. AM or PM, you guys decide. Oh, PM, guys. We had dinner. And then we delved into the Grand Prix races. Alright, guys, I'm going to be passing it off to Robot now.
So, the game. All the cups were completed on gold. Whoever played this game was pretty close to getting everything. Wait, didn't you guys start playing the game already? You would have already noticed this. Only things left to complete were the reverse cups called mirror mode. It wasn't any fun to build on someone else's file. So we went to the data. Yeah, this is all things you should have already done. What? The lap times read all the same. 6 minutes and 66 seconds. Wow. Not only
Wait, they seriously went there. 6 minutes, 66. Come on, guys. Try harder next time.
Not only was this really creepy, but also really illogical. Yeah, I guess it is. How could someone get a perfect Grand Prix record with time travel times like that? Yeah, that's the weirdest thing about it. My brother, being the skeptic he was, suggested it was someone trying to mess with us. Not being inclined to disagree, I cleared the data was the press of a button. That was undoubtedly the worst decision I have ever made in my life. The game shut off by itself. Only static could be seen and heard for a good 5 minutes. Good thing this guy can count time. Dominantly audible was the depressed, scared voice of Mario repeating a cryptic phrase, "You have driven us," he said in clear melancholia, whatever that is, "and you now must watch us suffer." My brother thought that this was just something someone programmed into the game cartridge, because, people can just do that. I had been playing the game for the entire time after dinner. I refused to play it after what had happened. My brother was visibly shaken, but he still wanted to prove to me nothing out of the ordinary was wrong with this game. So he played it with me watching it till the next morning. Wait, so I'm confused because it mentions that they ate dinner like twice. So my guess is it's like, no, I think my guess is this is supposed to be the things that happen between 4 to 6, but in the beginning, from 4 p.m. to 6, he's like, oh, it was a fun time. But then here he's telling us, oh, no, it was awful, and they want to kill me because I'm some guy.
So basically, like, two different things happened in the same time that he described at the same time, kind of thing. Like, it doesn't make sense. His timeline's all messed up.
2 separate timelines. This story's deep. So he switched on the game without incident. The start menu and the player select screens were all normal. He shows the start cup and started the first race. All the characters looked normal except things were very wrong. But they were normal, guys. The borders on the sides of the track didn't display their usual Royal Stadium. Instead, they read, "You will pay." When the race started, Luquito had a menacing smirk on his face. Evil would be the best way to describe it. After a sign, he said number 1, it said, "Die," rather than "go." Every time someone stepped on a banana, they didn't make the cheerful, cartoonish outburst they would normally make. Their cart would sputter out, and black smoke would begin to fume out of the engine, accompanied by their screams and cries for help. My brother's character, Luigi, hurled his first close-range red shell in the entire race. It hit Yoshi and was an explosive crash, and his car went into pieces. Welcome, everyone, to Michael Bay's Mario Kart 64. The familiar little dinosaur was now bisected just past the spine, crawling along the track and begging for this to end. My brother was now visibly perturbed, never heard of the word, but he pressed on and finished the race. Right when he passed the finish line, a distorted version of the victory theme played, accompanied by a slow, distorted, demonic laugh and several explosion sounds. As Luigi made his victory lap, all of the racers whose cars were smoking had died as their cart exploded. Charred 64-bit body parts littered the course as a plume of smoke hovered over the racetrack. In front of all the racers' names, it said, "RIP, rest in pieces." After this was all finished, he shut it off. The TV stayed on as he flicked the switch, and Mario appeared on the screen. His cart was a mangled mess. Besides his sprawled body, bones protrude from his arms and legs, and patches of flesh were missing, revealing his muscles, his hard, rocking muscles. His organs lay strewn on the floor around as his body uncontrollably twitched in agony. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with tears, as if he smoked a bunch of pot. Blood and bruises covered his face in pain. His pained face, He was panting as if he was about to die, but clearly he wasn't, because, his organs were all in his body, guys. Except they weren't. Mario had lost his cheerful animated look and donned a solemn one. He softly wept as he gave a warning. "You never should have cleared that data, His record has died, and now we will die too. You have driven him to do this, so you must watch us suffer. After all that happened, these words appeared on the screen in the game's colorful, upbeat font. You have driven us. You have driven him. My brother refused to play through the game's torture any longer. He couldn't, after seeing the game he had loved for so long being perverted into this. I agreed to play in his place, so in exchange he got a video camera to immortalize this madness. I had to scour courage to turn that system back on. Blood and gore itself don't bother me. Also, courage, I think you meant stupidity, but sure, courage is what we'll call it. It was seeing all the suffering. It was too much, but something in mind me pushed the power button on as if I was possessed or something. I don't know. On the N64, I wish I hadn't. The interest of my peace at mind and my sanity. The title screen showed the characters going down the hill. Donkey Kong was splitting Luigi's skull in half. Oh my god, where did we get here? With a buzzsaw, as opposed to hoisting up a green shell. The look on his face wasn't one of mischief either. It was one of pure bloodlust, of sick elation from being an orchestra of the chaos of the carnage. Peach, Yoshi, and Mario had looks of primal fear at the scene, obviously trying to drive away. A cloudy, lighting, muddled sky replaced the mild orange sunset. Flames danced in the distance as what sounded like a heartbeat played in the place of the cheery soundtrack. The exuberant, excited, "Welcome to Mario Kart" was replaced by the sobs of Mario. The entire sight disgusted me just like my Mario impression, but I managed to press start. The game catapulted me straight into the player select screen. The facial expressions of the characters had all drastically changed. All of the good characters, Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Toad, had an expression of utter horror on their faces. Some shook their heads nervously, while others remained completely still. Bowser, Donkey Kong, and Wario were unambiguously showing bloodlust, not a playful, meaning look, but one of pure greed and evil. I moved over to Toad and selected him. I feel like there's a character missing, isn't there? Wasn't there 8 characters in Mario Kart 64? Can't remember who he is. Whatever. Instead of his happy trademark, "Wahoo!" he started to weep mournfully. I was starting a race on a more dejected than usual version of Bowser's Castle. The music was the same except it was a lower pitched and much more ominous sounding. Oh, Yoshi, that's who's missing. Oh yeah, because he died. Okay. It sounded so creepy, it disturbed me. The first thing I noticed is that Peach was missing from the starting lineup, but Peach hadn't died yet. Luigi had even more nefarious looking expression than he did earlier in Wario Stadium. The same disturbing introduction played, but produced itself once again. Oh, dude, this is so funny. 3, 2, 1. Die! All of the cars sped past the bridge. A flame-shooting statue of a demon stood in place of where Bowser would normally be. Bowser, Wario, Donkey Kong all veered off to take their place next to the statue. An audible conversation could be heard. The satanic figure speaking in tongues not uttered by mortal men. All 3 villain characters appeared to be able to speak and understand the archaic language. Never heard of it. Suddenly, a burst of flame shot out and killed Luigi. The 3 characters laughed in a sick tone, a tone that implied that they were loving the sight of such dismay. Luigi's flesh was charred, and his muscle was exposed. His rock-hard abs were exposed, guys. You better be scared. As the villains all laughed, the demon repeated that cryptic, reoccurring message. You have driven us. Peach's fate was soon dismally apparent as Mario and I drifted the corner to evade the deathly torch of the demon's breath. I spotted her behind the bars of the Womp cage. She was tied to him with thick rope. Her eyes were missing, their sockets as she cried blood. Thick, coagulated blood stained the entire front of her dress. Every time the greenish rock thumped the ground, she threw up blood, creating a pool that filled the entire bottom section of the translucent torture chamber. Through her torture, she emotionally choked out this resounding message. You have driven them. Oh, it is Peach. You have driven them. With a final thump, pieces of her body went flying everywhere. The thump laughed in the same tone the 3 villains did. Mario and my character Toad were the only ones alive at this point. After what happened to Peach, my brother threw up in his mouth a little. I asked him if he got everything on the camera. He did, so I paused the game and continued the race. I had managed to dodge the burst of flame emitting from the demonic statue all 3 wraps. I can't wait to watch this video, guys. Like, if it was an actual video, I'll do like a reaction to it. Oh wait, can't say that word. Just remembered. At this point, it wasn't even about winning or losing. It was about keeping my character alive. I didn't know what other dark forces this game possessed. Whatever was inside this game making all this happen wasn't going anywhere anytime soon, and I doubted its capacity for mercy. That is assuming it would show me any it should possess it. I didn't know what would happen to my character, but I let him die, and I didn't want to find out. This was no longer a game. I felt as if it was someone's life in the balance, possibly mine. And your brother just stood there, possibly just like jerking off while he's like recording, Pretty funny, dude. I finished first ahead of Mario, but somber sounding version of the losing theme played. Again, it said in R&P, rest in pieces, in front of our names. Except this time it was different. This time it said Richard, which was my actual name. You dick. The screen faded out to a womp laugh, which was scary in itself. I was then delivered to a sixth version of a familiar environment. It was Rainbow Road, but there was no rainbows. Patterns of flesh, veins, eyeballs, and there was various internal body parts created the floor. Wario, Bowser, and Donkey Kong weren't even present in this race. Mario and I were alone, waiting in grim anticipation for the race's dejected beginning. Our carts left tracks of blood. I went down the long track at the beginning. Mario performed a special trick, because, you could do those in Mario Kart, easy word, dude. If you hop right before the drop gets steep, your cart will fly above everyone else's, and you'll have a slight advantage. When Mario hit the ground, his wheel flew off his cart. His body landed on the track, and his was a hyper-realistic crunch. As he cried in pain, his legs and arms were broken, and he pleaded with me to end it. He yelled at me as I passed, "Run me over and end my suffering. Drive me." The sky was filled with the stars as usual. The static... Shit, I lost my place. Okay. Drive me. The sky was filled with stars as usual. The music that played was a sped up, backwards rendition of Royal Raceway soundtrack. This is getting too specific, guys. Too spooky for me. The neon signs were altered. Instead of the happy looking depictions of the characters, they were in agony. Each of them was suffering some sort of gratuitous death. The three villain characters just gave menacing looks, and they were all casting egregious death stares at my character. They also have speech bubbles. That's so scary, guys. Saying things like, "You will burn." One of the comments especially disturbed me. It had said, "You have driven us. You will pay. You have driven us. You will pay." It was the final slap now. Lakitu laughed, and I could have sworn I heard something chuckle from my room. My brother did, and that was it for him. He told me to... Wait, what? Okay. He told me to turn off the game, or he was leaving. I obviously couldn't do that. I had no idea what happened to Toad. If I quit right now, and then I couldn't get past the guilt. But he's just a computer character in the game that's created through, magic or something. I guess in this case it's magic. It shouldn't matter. Now it was a matter of life and death. Oh, dang. The game conveyed the character's range of emotion so accurately, much too accurately. I felt like if I left Toad hanging, I would be condemning him to an eternal hell. I was probably just really bored or high. Mario was still lying there. He was barely alive, begging to be put out of his misery, but I refused to give him that satisfaction to the game. I completed the race, and just like the last time, it said, "Rest in peace, Dick." My place now read 666 instead of first. I got really scared. 666 is so scary, guy. Oh my god, how the hell did this game know I was playing? How could it speak to me? How did it know my name? Never before had a video game elicited emotions of such magnitude, elicited fear so primal. I persevered, hoping all the madness would soon come to an end so I could preserve my sanity. What will next will haunt me forever. Toad spawned in Mario 64, Castle and Roller Racer. All the green areas of plays and the waterfall filled the frowning moat with blood. Macabre figures could be seen in the distance, guys. You know what a macabre figure is, guys? The sky was black and filled with lightning as bursts of lava erupted in the distance where the yellow sand should have been laid in flesh like ground I encountered on Rainbow Road. I legitimately feared my life at this point. This place looked like hell. No, it was hell. It had to be pressing on a gripping terror. I approached the winner's podium as blood flew behind me. Bowser was in first, Donkey Kong second, and Wario in third. They were all laughing as the fire-breathing demon from Bowser's castle... Whoa, my god, Satan's in this story, guys. Behind them there was a greedy smirk, the floating fish with a bud, a look of stock bloodlust cast across its eerie, shadowed face. Behind the podium stood the characters in the states right before they died, disfigured and clinging to life. Oh, so they're not dead. That kind of kills it. Except their eyes were all missing. They were bleeding like Peach was earlier, that soulless look looming in their sockets. They were unable to see anything, but they were staring at me. Their faces no longer displayed expressions of suffering or anguish. They were blank looks of bereft of any expression. You have driven us, they said as one. Suddenly the swelling noise was made, as if the trophy was about to come out. Instead, it was much different. Blood went anywhere. The huge sword came down and sliced Bowser in half. Too edgy. The demon tore apart everyone else as Toad watched. Too much edge, guys. He spared Toad for some reason. At the lowest moment, Toad turned to face the screen, his eyes now profusely beating and soulless. He chanted in unison with the demon beside him. You have left us. You have damned us. You have driven us. Let's see if I can do the Toad voice. You have left us. You have damned us. You have driven us. The game then shut itself off. I tried removing the cartridge, but it burned my hand. Oh my god, dude. It was streaming on the surface, so I took a nearby sweater and threw it to my driveway. I got my brother to burn it with me. While it was burning, we decided to see if the footage had been properly captured. Oh, guys, dude, I gotta watch the video now. The video had disappeared. What? My brother said he stopped the recording within the limit, so it should have been there. All we found on it was a single picture. It was a portrait of Mario crying blood, as he did in game. It read, "You have driven us," on the bottom. As the outer plastic melted from the game shell, the sound of screams came from my room. Oh my god, this is so edgy, guys. I ran in my room to see what was going on. The door to my bathroom was open. Walking in, I pushed it to the point of the ears. My sink was filled with blood. Written on the mirror were these words: "It will never end. You have driven us." I just don't even know, man. It's too much edge. 666, blood, violence, death. Demon, Satan was a main character, guys, dude. What do you have to say about this, Ninja?
I don't know what to feel anymore. It was hashtag too edgy for me.
Yeah, dude, we gotta call this episode too edgy for me instead. That's just how much edge it had. Well, we don't have anything else to say. This has been Too Spooky for Me Readings, and we are out of here.